Hey, y'all, you're listening to Diagnosing Sitcoms and Movies, the DSM podcast. We help make mental health more comfortable by using Black movies and shows we know and love and culture to remove stigma. So join our convo with your host, Courtney Copeland, licensed mental health counselor.
And Dr. B, licensed professional counselor.
That's when the screen is shifting side to side. And it was like, the Proud Family. What? You and me will always be tight. Family every single day and night. Even when you start to acting like a fool, you know I'm loving every single thing you do. I know that I can always be myself around you and anybody else. Every day as I'm heading off to school, you know there's no one I love but you. A family, proud family, proud family. They'll make you scream. They make you want to see.
Oh.
It's a family thing, a family, proud family, proud family. They'll push. See, you know, there's so many different levels in this that I can't sing them all by myself. The acoustics in this room is just not appealing. You know, I've been told that I sound like a combination of Jesus and Fergie, you know, and so
yes, because if you ever hear the Lord's voice, isn't it? Is that we can't handle it.
Yes.
We can't handle hearing the Lord's voice. I don't think we can handle hearing this right now neither.
Yeah. So it's okay. I mean, like I said, I haven't sung since show choir in 2008. And so I just wasn't warmed up. It's okay. We'll move on though.
Okay. So we're done with that. If you cannot tell, this episode will be all about the Disney animated show, The Proud Family. The Proud Family. With voices from Kyla Pratt, Paula Joy Parker, Tommy Davidson, Jo Marie Payton, Cara Melina White, Alyssa Reyes, who was the girl from All That. I have forgot about her for a while. Cedric the Entertainer, Orlando Brown with his crazy self.
Oh my gosh.
Raquel Lee, Ari Spears, and lots of guest appearances from famous voices as well. So watching the show again for this podcast, I realized this show was Black as hell.
Oh my gosh.
Every second of it.
Yes, like literally when Sugar Mama said, I'll smack the black off you and it went on the wall, I was like, wow, like only a Black family would say something like that. And only a Black show with like an animation series, if at that, will show the Black on the wall. Like that was genius.
I mean, I haven't seen another animated series with Lou Rawls. I mean, who has Lou Rawls on the show? Then the kids are remixing Rumors by Houdini.
Right.
And the rapper on the show sounds like DMX. It was everything.
It was, you know, and then honestly, this was one of the first animated shows to have a female lead. So with Kyla Pratt being the female lead, this is the first animated Black show like this. For its time. And then it was the very first animated original series. And I was watching this YouTube video, and, you know, Bruce Smith is the creator of Proud Family. And he got his motivation for this because he felt that there weren't any animated shows for us at that time. So this was like early 2000s, so 2001, Proud Family was created. And so he was looking at like The Simpsons and King of the Hill and realizing there weren't really animated shows at that time. I mean, of course, you had other ones like Happily Ever After, Fairy Tales for Every Child. That was on HBO.
Which was amazing. And I wonder if I can stream that for my future children, because they
need that. Right?
I love that.
And then that was only from 1995 to 2000. So then once that went off the air, that was on the air, and then Proud Family came in. But before Happily Ever After, there was Wayne Head.
Boop, 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 Wayne Head.
And guess who was the main character, the voice for the main character? Orlando Brown.
Wow.
Yes.
It's just, he has such a promising career and future with, he's done so many great things.
He really has.
Major Pain, being in episodes of Family Matters, being like guest starring on Jamie Foxx show. He's done so much. And I don't know if it's just the pressures of Hollywood with child stars, or if it's all of the drugs that also are present there, but it just drove your boy crazy.
But do you remember C-Bear and Jamal?
I do. We used to have at my house, we had C-Bear and Jamal on VHS. And my little brother used to watch it over and over and over. I could probably recite you a good 3 episodes of C-Bear and Jamal off the dome.
Wow. I would like, when I look at it, I'm like, oh snap. I was like 6 years old when that came out. And I don't remember it. I don't remember C-Bear and Jamal.
C-Bear and Jamal. Yep, it was Tone Loc did the voice of C-Bear. It was a really good show.
Yeah.
It was kind of it was like if Bebe's Kids was child friendly.
Yes. And then of course you can't talk about Proud Family without kind of having or touching a piece of Bebe's Kids, because like, I mean, Bruce Smith also was the creator for that as well. So he just really wanted to see,
in partnership with Robin Harris. Give Robin his flowers.
I'm sorry. Yes. And so what I noticed that he does that I appreciate is he humanizes his Black characters. And so with that, especially in Bebe's Kids, you know, that scene when he has to leave them in the apartment and he's like really saddened about their living environment and things like that. And then the fact that within the Proud Family, there's so many cultural layers that they hit, not only about being Black, but then other cultural aspects that a lot of cartoons didn't necessarily take into consideration at that time. So shout out to Bruce Smith, Ralph Farquhar. Am I saying that right?
I'm glad you tried to say that name. Because I saw it at the end of every episode and I was like, child, I have no idea.
We're just going to call him Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph F.
Ralph F. Ralph is actually co-creator of the Parkers and Moesha, which is also why you kind of get kind of that sitcom-y type feel from Proud Family, because Bruce really was intentional about choosing someone not so much from the animated world, like animation world, where like they had it set up a certain way. He wanted to have the sitcom and the setup that he saw with like Moesha and the Parkers and many other projects Ralph has been a part of. But yeah.
Which I thought was great because there was really good comedic timing in the Proud Family, which I just appreciated so much. And I definitely feel that even though I hate you.
So much comedy in there.
For those that don't know, that is Poppy Boulevardes's laugh. Which
childish.
It goes without saying is one of our quotables.
Yes, one of my quotables. Trudy! Or when they find out when my sugar mama makes one of Oscar's Proud snacks and she said, yeah, I put my foot in it. Every time someone says they put their foot in it, I think about Sugar Mama. I will never be the same again. And then you gotta Penny! And then that's it. That's about it. Those are my quotables.
I mean, well, along in that vein, I also liked it when Dejanay would say, Penny Proud!
Why is everybody yelling?
Expressing urgency. That's what's happening. I also liked Wizard Kelly's every time something terrible would happen, he would just give them like a coupon for fresh hot butter popping corn. And then Wizard Kelly's movie theaters.
Right. And then you got to have his brother in there.
Anything that Bobby said, because Cedric the Entertainer used to, ow.
It's the fruit cake that ain't got no fruit, y'all.
Now.
So I love Bobby just for that. Like no matter what he said, I just needed him to come in and
now.
And the way he walks is just priceless. Like he's just too cool for school.
with his Boosie Collins outfit on.
Yeah.
And then I also liked, I don't know why, but there was the episode with the bullies that had came. It was I guess on the Gross Sisters turf, and they were the Altos, and they had to sing it like that every single time because they were the Altos. And then there was the chant. My last one is the chant where the that the girls would do, and like it changes throughout different episodes. But on the first episode is "We girls, we bad, we kick the boys," and then the theme song comes in right away. But yeah, they changed it, and I just think it was so cute because all girls need a chant like that just to express their awesomeness.
I like, if I was to do another one, it's not really a quotable, but stop spreading those rumors around. Stop spreading the lies. That was my jam.
They did a whole remix to Houdini. The show was so black.
Yo, did you? I never realized Smokey Robinson was on here. Steve Harvey made an appearance.
Girl, everybody.
A little bit of everybody. And then, you know, an interview I was watching, they were saying that it was important for them to have these people come in because had they not had this show, they wouldn't have had any animated experience. And so this was a chance for people to kind of step in and see what it's like to do animation.
Awesome. Look at Black people creating opportunities for us to just continue to grow and flourish. It's just, this is why we need people in every room so that you can create opportunities to bring other people of color in and have those experiences as well so that we all can grow. It's just awesome. I love this show. Yes. And again, I don't know how we ended up in LA again, following another young Black female. I feel like we do that so much now.
I think it's because of the producer, the executive producer, Ralph. And especially when you look at the Parkers and you look at Moesha,
they get so much representation.
Yeah, which I didn't realize that at that time, the 90s, like a lot of the shows and stuff seemed to be, or movies seem to have been in like LA.
I mean, it makes sense because that's where the creatives were at the time. And so I guess a lot of the references I probably didn't even get until I got older, like the fact that La Ciénaga's name is La Ciénaga Boulevardes. Because there's a street in LA called La Ciénaga Boulevard. And her mom's name is Sunset Boulevardes because there's a Sunset Boulevard in LA as well, which is hilarious. So now, because I know that, I didn't know nothing about LA as a kid, so I didn't even know that was a thing. I was just like, oh, La Ciénaga, okay.
Right. And then like even how they took BB and CC, their names, the babies, their BB and CC, what is it? Wayne? Not Wayne.
Ooh, girl, I need for you to know. It's the Winans.
See, I still had the Wayans in my head. Winans.
Wayne head got stuck in your head.
It did. It really did.
I don't know if you noticed with your appreciation of the theme song that it was sung majorly by Solange with background vocals by Beyonce. And I just think that it's so interesting that Beyonce sung on the Proud Family hook and now her family, or theme song, and now her family resembles the Proud Family with the twins, the oldest daughter, the husband and the wife.
Oh, yeah. Aww.
Look at the universe just coming full circle.
I suppose. You know, I thought that Destiny's Child was the ones who was singing the song, and I thought Beyonce was Solange's voice for many years. I didn't realize that Solange was the main singer of the theme song.
You did watch the commercial that used to come on the Disney Channel that they had?
I just thought
they played over and over and over again.
I know. But see, here's what I thought. I was like, that's so nice. She's letting her sister be a part of it. She's so proud of her family. I was like, that's Proud Family right there. That's it.
Poor Solange. Put some respect on Solange's name.
she got cranes in the sky. We better put some respect on her name. Listen, that album go hard.
Don't it though? So I want to know, this is the biggest question that I have.
What is
I think probably for the whole episode.
Tell me.
As a indeed I will. Did you know, as a child, that the girl sisters were blue because they were ashy. I did not know that till I was an adult.
Get out of here.
That's why they're blue, is because it's ash.
I thought they was blue because they was sad.
They was blue because they was ashy.
Bruh. Everything from head to toe. It was
From
just
head
dry.
to toe, child, just dry.
Jesus. I did not know that. Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
How old were you when this was out? This is 2001, so how old were you?
I don't know, girl. A year older than you.
Okay, so you were 12. I was 11. I was 11 when this came out. I was super excited. I remember being so excited to watch the episodes, and even more so excited at 15 to watch the movie, the Proud Family movie, and watching these cashews dance. Like, they was busting a move. I loved it.
Okay, so I have to admit something. I've never watched the movie.
What?
I will watch it right now on Disney Plus when we finish the episode.
Oh my gosh, you have to watch it.
Because I was so scared that it wasn't going to be as good as the show.
It was. To me, it was good.
Okay.
I enjoyed it just as much as the show. Then as a kid and even as an adult, like I watched it again. And it was funny. Especially because again, at 11, I didn't pick up on half of the joke in this sitcom, because I mean, when you're a kid, you don't like that one episode about like Penny running for something. But where she was talking about Republican and
when she said, "We Republican, we don't pay taxes."
Yes. And I was like, whoa, like that would have totally, I didn't know that at 11, but at this age, I was like, no, she didn't. Well,
Shade, child.
Yes. Or just the level of shade for La Cienega. Like I knew I didn't like La Cienega because Penny didn't like her, at 11. But as an adult, when she was like, oh, look, nappy and happy, bitch. Did she just call my what?
Did she just call my baby brother and sister happy and nappy?
And then she said, it's BB and Cece. And she's like, isn't that what I said?
Yeah, she had to see me about that.
Desjardins had the whole Penny back. She already knew.
I just said, kid, BBCC, let's go home before I make some bad decisions in front of you. Let's just go.
Get out my house. Carry your ass across the street.
See your mini mansion.
Girl.
That's right across the street from my regular house.
Right. So listen, and then also I have to also point out the fact that like they're living like this fabulous life. So what does her father do for a living?
La Cienega?
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea, but I know that the mother is a policewoman.
He's in contracting.
Yeah.
Felix.
Construction.
Yep. Construction. Yeah. And then Oscar is the entrepreneur of Proud Snacks that is terrible. And they go through like so many episodes to prove how disgusting and deadly the Proud Snacks are. But yeah, he's
deadly.
Deadly, girl. Deadly. People be passing out when they eat them. Stuff be dying. I just don't understand why the Proud Snakes had to be so disgusting. And he always promoting it.
And that poor monkey that had to taste them and test them.
Right. Wait, not Mariah Carey's monkey. You talking about Mariah Carey's monkey? Y'all, Mariah Carey had a monkey.
Switch places.
Mariah Carey. Speaking of which, another cameo from a celebrity. Alicia Keys was on there. Gabrielle Reunion.
Did you just say reunion? Ooh.
I'm dead. Gabrielle Reunion was on there. Right. Like
it was a whole bunch. I just also wanted to appreciate.
I'm sorry. You want to appreciate who? Let's do it.
I don't trust you on the button.
I won't touch it no more.
You lie.
I do lie.
Take a second to appreciate Aries Spears, who did the voice of like several different characters. He was the voice of Wizard
yeah.
Kelly. He was the voice of Sir Paid a lot, who awkwardly sounded just like DMX.
Oh, Mos Def also made an appearance on here too. And the way they drew him, he actually looked just like Mos Def. It was so cool. Sorry.
I'm glad you remembered that last name because I know it would have bothered you had you not.
Yes, I was really about to be like, let me Google who was on here, who was on Proud Family. But yeah, I think the characters, especially for Proud, Oscar Proud, it was just like, how could they afford to live in that house? And then I'm thinking, oh, Trudy was a veterinarian.
Trudy was bringing in all the money. Trudy was bringing in the bacon, fried it up in the pan, and serving it to the family.
And serving it. And then a part of me was like, why she keep asking Penny to watch her twins? Those your kids. Didn't nobody take? And then I had to stop. And I said, no, Rosie, she's a working Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she has an older child, and you would do the same thing. You got to take.
And as an older sibling, sibling and older cousin, that's just how I go.
Right. Like, okay, you're 14, you can watch them. So,
I don't want to watch your kids because I didn't have these kids. They your kids. However,
exactly.
I'm going to, and I'm not going to say that out loud to your face where you can hear me. I'm going to wait and go in my room and close the door and whisper it to my stuffed animals like a good self-respecting tween would do.
Or wait till you get a podcast at a certain age where you can say it.
I'm probably going to get some ugly text messages.
You might, and it's okay. She's sorry.
I love you, Brittany and Sam. You guys are the best. Your kids turned out okay.
They didn't end up in the oven. That's all that matters.
Right? I didn't lose them.
Right?
She lost BB and CC. I didn't let nobody call their kids Happy and Nappy.
Them kids, though, they were smart. They were baby geniuses.
And they were so mean to Puff. They terrorized Puff.
What they were doing was they were using him as their subject.
Just dummies.
He was their subject. And they did baby research on him. And some things went well and other things didn't go so well.
They tested their hypothesis on whether or not things could fly. They were learning the world around them through Puff.
Exactly. They couldn't get into that prestigious school that Trudy wanted them to get into because Oscar didn't want to give the man no more money, and he didn't like how he was touching up on his lady. So there's that part. I don't know why I said lady. I got that from Shanae. Anytime I say anything,
I'm a lady.
Gotta say it like that. You can't say lady regular now if you're listening to this.
I did like all of the other like references to other shows, other Black film that was in this show where they had like the episode that was kind of like Moesha and it was called Isha. Like y'all didn't even try to change it up.
Again, like Ralph, you had to put your own plug in there, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. And then the episode where she could talk to the tiger. Because she was Kyla Pratt had just played in Dr. Dolittle, and so then she had the episode where she could talk to the tiger. I said, "Look at them tying it all together."
I loved it. Of course, when I think about the one episode with Smokey Robinson, and then I guess this is a quotable. He was like, Oscar says, "Everyone knows Smokey Robinson has green eyes," and then he looks at him again. He was like, Smokey Robinson. Because they zoomed in on his green eyes. I just love animation, man. Like, I mean, you could take some of those like metaphors and really bring them to life in these shows. I think one of my favorite episodes, are the one with Ramadan and no, I have 3, Black History Month and Kwanzaa. Those are
I knew you was going to say Kwanzaa. You just are such a after school special kind of gal. You love a good moral in a story.
I do.
It just touches your heart. Do you watch a lot of Lifetime movies too?
I do. And I think because of the, like you said, the lesson learned in all of that is just, honestly, I didn't really see all of it as a kid. I got pieces of it, but as an adult, I'm like, every kid needs to watch this cartoon now. Because every episode, there's a teaching moment.
Right. And I feel like that is something that I am missing in a lot of the newer shows, is that they don't have that everything is resolved in this 22 minutes and we've learned the lesson and we're all better people because of it. And I think that too, like they did have those heartwarming moments where they talked about, of course, cultures and diversity and holidays and values, which were really important. And they also touched on like some more just tween, early teenage life lessons, like when the girls get the negative attention from the older boys because of the outfits that they're wearing and lying to their parents and stuff like that.
Hip hop helicopter.
Girl.
Hip-hop helicopter.
Why? I was like, so did they couldn't use Soul Train, so they changed it to a hip hop helicopter.
Yes, with Big Boy. Yes.
Another big cameo.
Right.
And so I just felt like this is such a wholesome television show for Black children. I love it.
So how you gonna make this turn into something dark so we could diagnose it? Because you know how you do.
Easily. Because just like in real life, you might know and love the people in your family and that you are proud of in your proud family, and they still might have some stuff that is going on with them. Nobody is perfect, just like the Prouds. And they were a healthy, loving family who did the best for their children. And it is possible for you to be a healthy, loving family and raise children and raise your family in a healthy way and still have some diagnosable characteristics.
Trivia question. Where does Sugar Mama live?
So at first, she does have her own place. And then it sounds like by the second season, she's back in the Proud family house. There was a couple times where he said, like, why don't you go to your house and different stuff like that. And then looks like they just stopped saying that. So I guess that I had thought maybe she moved back in.
Nah, she's always had her own spot. And the only reason why she came over there is like, I want to come see my grandbabies. And then, you know, when she would come over there, she would invite her friends over to play bingo. And Poppy come over there and talk all his little shit. And that's all she did. She had her friends come over to her son's house. All the shit.
Well, I know that's how retired grandmas do. Ah, gosh darn it. There goes another angry text message.
You just doing it to yourself today, honey.
I love y'all so much. Okay. So which one would you like to do first? Would you like to look at some of the family members within a system, or would you just like to dive straight into diagnosis?
Let's look at the system.
Okay. So along with some of the birth order things that we have talked about in previous episodes, there are also some dysfunctional family roles that exist. Sometimes they're solely referred to adult children of alcoholism parent roles, but that's not necessarily the case here. We definitely don't know what was going on with Oscar's daddy or what happened with that. All we know that he died, but we do know that he was a player because if we have the episode where Sugar Mama was in the dance off with the other girl and they was fighting over daddy and all of that. So with that being said,
what's his daddy name? Priscilla's it began
it was Percy Proud.
Percy Proud. I was same difference. I was close.
Yes, very close. Because I at first was,
Percy.
Said his name? It was Percy Proud.
Yes, honey.
Okay, but in some of those roles, I definitely felt like Sugar Mama was so mean to Oscar.
She was not mean.
Yes, she was. All he wanted was her approval. Anytime that he was scared or he was hurt, he would, Mama! He would call for her.
She was not
mean. She was always sniping at him and calling him no good and his failing business, and he ain't had no money and he was dumb and just.
I mean, there was no lie. There was no lie in anything that she said. And then, but what about Bobby? Bobby won't do nothing either, and she loved him. But yeah, because Bobby was the talent. He was the one
Girl,
that
bye. That's talent.
he was talented. Wow.
Wow.
Now.
He could
Is it about to
sing,
be
y'all.
a broke
Nigga
down
sing.
cameo.
He could sing. Sing high.
Now.
Yes, he could. And so that's why he was favored. And Oscar, you know, I think Sugar Mama gave him a hard time because she knew he was okay. I think a lot of times parents tend to give their kids a hard time once it's like, okay, they're gonna be all right. And then they coddle and take care of the ones that they feel may not be the ones that are ready so much to venture out. So maybe that was Bobby. That's my theory.
Bobby, and she could have done that to a certain extent where Bobby did still live with her. Because they do talk about that, how Bobby is still living with Sugar Mama. And so I could see her taking care of him in that way. I definitely don't think it was necessary for her to just be playing Oscar as much as she did. So in my mind, I felt like Bobby was the mascot. And so that kind of goes with the lovable child, the cute one, the immature one, the fragile one that you have to take care of. And so that can exist. And that is often the youngest child. And I do think that Bobby was the younger brother in families. I think that Sugar Mama was the chief enabler. She's the protector of the family, self-righteous, super responsible, sarcastic, and kind of like the martyr of the family. So willing to give it all for her family. And there were several times where she was willing to fight and throw down for different members of the family.
She'll show you real quick on how to fight.
And then I think because those two took those roles, I think that Oscar kind of bounced back and forth between the family hero and the scapegoat, which is weird because they are at two different odds of the spectrum, where the family hero is the caretaker of the family. They're the high achiever. They follow rules. They're often entrepreneurs. They seek approval. And the scapegoat is kind of looked at as the problem child. And so they get into trouble. They are viewed as not as intelligent, is the rule breaker, sometimes defiant. And so I feel like he kind of bounced. They're like looked at as bad. And I feel like he bounced between those two roles because he was really taking care of the family, even though it looks like he was really just spending Trudy's money. Right. He was providing a certain level of security for the family with allowing them continuously into his home and taking care and spending time with everyone, as well as being the bad one, the no good, you the dumb one, you can't do nothing right, and all of those things. And while seeking that approval from Sugar Mama, I think that her needing to coddle Bobby was at the expense of Oscar.
I think I can agree with most of it. I think what I want to pull back on is that we get to see Oscar be a real father, and it was in a positive light, like he was a working man. He had his own business. It had to be somewhat successful because he still had Proud Snacks out there where everybody can have it, as horrible as they were. So, and then he was very present in Penny's life. So, with major milestones or, teen issues or problems and concerns, he was there to still guide her. While he may have been childish in his ways as like the father figure, he was still very much fatherly to his children and was present. I wouldn't say like he was a failure. I just think that
No. In no way do I feel that he was a failure. I definitely think I agree with you that he was a very present father, very involved and very willing to give support at a good level. And I think that he was trying to be the parent that give the parenting that he wished he got. And so not saying that Sugar Mama in any way, her parenting style impacted his in a negative way. I don't think that's the case. I definitely feel that it gave him this is what I will want. This is what I'm going to give.
Yeah. And I think that's the case for a lot of parents. You look and you see, okay, well, this is what I wish I would have had as a kid. And most times you try to show or give that to your kids, the things that you didn't have as a kid, which can be a good thing and it could be a bad thing.
And I think sometimes he went a little bit overboard with that, like the forcing Penny to do the spelling bee just because that was his thing.
Perfect example. When he wanted to be the person that shot the ball for the Magic Kelly contest, and Penny had the chance to do it, the $1 million shot or whatever, and he lost his opportunity as a kid, so he wanted to take her and make her, give him the opportunity. So yeah, it did show up in other ways, and then forcing her to not date. And like he even asked Sugar Mama, was I dating at this age? And she was like, no, didn't nobody want you.
You're right.
No, because didn't nobody want you. That's why.
That's the real reason why.
Right. It had nothing to do with me, boo. So that type of stuff, I think.
But I think that, exactly. I definitely think that there was a lot of Penny almost having to choose Oscar.
Yeah.
And like with the shot, with the coming clean and being honest, and especially the episode where she had turned into like Beyonce or something and was an R&B sensation and around the world and had all these millions. She had to then choose her father and then end up coming back home and giving that life away. And Wizard Kelly then took all her money because, Wizard Kelly don't play about his money, child.
Okay.
But I feel like there was a lot of just times where Penny had to choose Oscar. And I think that goes again back to the approval that he was seeking that he never got from Sugar Mama. So that is the only way where I see his relationship with Sugar Mama kind of impacting his relationship with his children in that kind of way. I also diagnosed Oscar with ADHD.
Okay. To me, I feel like he's a stereotypical male, American male, who is super concerned about his masculinity. So I remember one episode where Trudy changes the TV and Felix come over and he's like, dude, you only got nothing but chick TV. You have a chick TV or something. And he's like, no, I don't. And he starts flipping through the channel and he's like, Oprah, Trudy! And so, Trudy comes in, she's like, yeah, I blocked all the masculine shows like ESPN and blah, blah, blah. And so I think that kind of spoke to that masculinity, that toxic masculinity that he tended to have with making sure that again, Penny didn't date boys and, boys are bad. And this is the type of ideas that boys have. But he perpetuated this toxic masculinity himself with feeling like, well, I'm the man of the house and I got this and I got to do that. But I wouldn't say he had ADHD. Like he just wanted to watch TV and be left alone.
He was definitely a caveman in some of his misogynistic views. And
yes.
And I think that was him trying to almost put his foot down, I guess, or like solidify his role in the house. Because
but he didn't.
He never did. Because the only other male in the house was BB, who was a baby, and like Puff. So
was Puff even a boy? He is a boy. Yeah.
And then he has strong females in his house. For her age, Penny was a strong-willed young girl. Trudy was a strong woman. Sugar Mama was a very strong woman. He won't get nothing past that. No wins off of her. And so that on top of the fact that he didn't make as much money as Trudy made, and him feeling like him knowing and Sugar Mama constantly reminding him that Trudy could have done better, but she chose him. I think some of those were him trying to like flex his masculinity because it was often pushed aside.
It was. But that's what I see for him. I didn't really give him necessarily a diagnosis, but I'm interested to hear your criteria for Oscar.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go. All right. So a persistent pattern of inattention and or hyperactivity, impulsivity that interferes in functioning or development. And so for him, I selected the type as hyperactivity and impulsivity with often fidgeting, taps hands or feet, or squirms in seat. He was moving around a lot. Is often on the go, acting as if driven by a motor, is unable to be comfortable in restaurants, meetings, may be experienced by others as being restless or difficult to keep up with, often talks excessively. He talked a whole bunch.
He did.
Often blurts out an answer before a question has been completed. Cannot wait for a turn in conversation. Often has difficulty waiting his or her turn, and often interrupts, intrudes on others, butts into conversations, games, activities, may start using other people's things without asking. And so, yeah, I felt like that fit him. And we can say mild. We can say mild.
We can say mild. We can say mild. He behaved himself at the banquet.
And that's why I say mild, because I feel like there were times where if he knew that there were certain social constructs within that he had to operate within, he could hold himself together.
Yeah.
But I feel like in his true essence.
Yeah, it makes me think about how he acted when BB and Cece were going for their baby photos, and they became stars, or not stars, but they ended up doing this TV commercial, and he was in there directing the director. So, okay.
That's another instance where the kids had to choose him. Because remember, the Denzel Washington ended up playing the daddy, and everybody was in the commercial except for him.
And they show as hell went to eat lunch with Denzel Washington. And Trudy said, "Come on, y'all, let's have lunch with daddy." So.
And another thing that pops into my mind, just as far as with diagnosing him with ADHD, is there are so many shots where like the shot is not of him, and then just his head pops out the side.
I know.
And he interjects something, and it slides right back up.
Right. His little cameo, and that's about it.
Oscar Proud snacks.
Right. Exactly. Don't nobody want your trash ass snacks. Like strawberry and what did he say? He said pork rinds. Strawberry and pork rinds. Really, Oscar? No wonder why people die whenever they eat your snacks. They was giving it out at the homeless shelter and everything.
They didn't want it. Okay, so can we talk about Sugar Mama's falling asleep?
Listen, when you get that age, okay, give you a nice warm blanket.
How old is Sugar Mama?
Sugar Mama is ageless, in my opinion, because she can still do cartwheels and everything.
Mm-hmm.
She'll bust it down real quick.
Lead in the fitness class and all of that.
And when it was time to pray pretzel, she was on the floor with them folk, and she was praying pretzel with them. She said, "Put my honey mustard right here and the salt right here. I'm the champ." She was on it.
But with her always falling asleep, I did diagnose her with hypersomnolence disorder. And so it's a self-reported excessive sleepiness despite a main sleep period lasting at least 7 hours, with recurrent periods of sleep or lapses of sleep within the same day, a prolonged main sleep episode of more than 9 hours, occurring at least 3 times a week for at least 3 months.
I have a question for you. Who got more money in this show? The Gross Sisters or Sugar Mama?
Okay, so the Gross Sisters were getting money more often, but Sugar Mama was getting higher value money. So that's a good question.
Right, because, they always had, the little one always had her hand out. She didn't have to say
no
nothing.
words. You know what it is.
Hand out money. Every time. Run me my money. And then I think about how many times Oscar had his wallet out and how Sugar Mama would put it in her wig. Or one time when her wig came off and you see the dollar bills in her stocking cap. So I just needed to know, out of the 2 people who was getting the money the most in this show, who had the most money in your opinion? I go with Sugar Mama.
Sugar Mama was getting higher quantities of money, but I feel like the Gross Sister were collecting on a more consistent basis. And so I'm going to go with the Gross Sisters because they even had people in payment plans. They was getting passive income.
They was getting it from faculty, from the custodian, everybody, they parents, everybody.
which is why I diagnosed the girl sisters with conduct disorder.
They don't know how to act.
And so some of the criteria, it is a lot of criteria for conduct disorder, so I will not go through all of it. I am diagnosing them, though, as a unit, so this includes all three of them. Aggression to people, often bullies, threatens, or intimidates others, often initiates physical fights, has been physically cruel to people, has stolen while confronting a victim, has deliberately destroyed others' property, broken into someone's house, building, or a car, lied to obtain goods or favors to avoid obligations, has stolen items of non-trivial value without confronting a victim. Yeah, they all of that. And I'll give them, at the childhood onset type. With there was more. I did know that there was more. With limited pro-social emotions. So they had a lack of remorse or guilt. They ain't feel bad for what they was doing. You know what it is.
They did not. They did not.
There was the callous, lack of empathy, and the shallow or deficit affect. So you never saw any emotions on their face. It was just
absolutely
blank face, running money.
No, there was that one episode. There was that one episode when one of them got the makeover.
I was just about to say that there was only the one, and she got the makeover, and she did look at them like, oh, this was nice, guys, but I got to go back to Robin.
Yeah.
And so there was another time where they did show emotion. I think it was during their while they were singing, because we found out that they had beautiful voices during the talent show.
Yes, they do have beautiful voices. That threw me off. I completely forgot about that. I was like, wait, what?
So again, if I was their school counselor, I'll save that for prognosis. The only other people that I did diagnose is, okay, so I have to ask you this question. Do you think Bobby got high? I think Bobby got high.
I mean, if you're going to drink a drink, 20. Did he get high? Yes, probably. I mean, he did come over and eat all of the kids' pancakes that one morning. And he did also eat the entire Thanksgiving dinner. And the only time that I'm capable of doing something like that is after a nice, large cup of water. So I think Bobby did drink. That didn't make any sense
at all. So I'm out here, I'm going to get black eyes and ugly text messages, and you just out here drinking water. Okay.
Okay. So anytime that like I have like an edible and I get the munchies, I can eat a whole buffet. So I would say that there's a likelihood that he might have engaged in some edibles.
I'm concerned that it was more than just weed and edibles, because where was all his money going? If like you said, if he's the talent and he can sing, then why is he still living with Sugar Mama?
Because he's a struggling singer in LA. I mean, come on, seriously, how many people are trying to be actors and singers out there? Like, he was struggling, which is why he had to live with his mom. Like,
and most of them in LA
artists
are high on cocaine.
Yeah.
Yes. So
that's not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make is that he was likely like living with his mama, because most of them are like roommates out there. Talk about the rest of them are high on cocaine, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not what. That's the next point to be made. But then, okay, so why was he stuck in the 70s? You said this show came out in 2001, and he was still stuck. Not the 90s, not the 80s, but the 70s. Because there were still people. Because there's still people who think that like old music can still make a comeback, and he was still he did make a moment of a comeback for maintaining his style. He remained unique, like true to his style and who he was, and so I think that's why he was in the 70s, because nobody else was doing it. He was fly with it.
We rap country and Western. No, you cannot tell me that. Those cousins, and Bobby are not getting high.
I forgot about that. Is that 5 heartbeats?
Yes.
We got a music group. It's like you have to change with the times. And so I think
Bobby was not changing with the times.
He was not with it. He was, I'm going to stay true to who I am because somebody going to want this one day. And they did. But did you know that Nickelodeon tried to get this first? Like they actually pilot this through Nickelodeon first.
So what was up? Nickelodeon didn't want it?
They did not want it. And so then they went to the next one and Disney ate it all up.
Well, good job, Disney. I think it went in waves. Like Nickelodeon was doing really good with having shows that kind of spoke to us with like all of that, with Kenan and Kel. And then I feel like they kind of dropped the ball after that. Like the 90s, they did real good. And then they kind of dropped the ball in the 2000s. Disney kind of picked up shows like shows like Proud Family and Smart Guy. They were kind of targeting us more. That won't for us, but it was still good.
You're right.
But
right. Oh, well, Nickelodeon had Cousin Skeeter. That was the only other. Oh, they had Taina.
I feel like Taina had like 6 episodes, and then I feel like I never saw her again. Which I really like that show because I didn't really care for Taina because she was kind of corny. But her mom was played by Lisa Lisa. And I thought that I was Lisa Lisa as a small child. You could not tell me that I was not. Speaking of Taina, at first I used to think that was the person that did the voice for La Cienega Boulevardes, but it is the girl from All That who did the voice for Miss La Cienega Boulevardes. And her name was Alisa Reyes. She was the one who did forever, endeavor, 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 endeavor. That was her.
Wow.
You sing on the show all the time. Don't come for me.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just feel like I have a little bit. Okay, you're right. I do. And
you probably do have a better voice. But I did diagnose La Cienega Boulevardes and her big ass feet with I diagnosed her with funny. Yes, it was. They're all gonna laugh at me.
I thought Oscar was gonna be like, "What are those?" But she pulled it from under the cover. I was like, "That's where it came from." But he did. He was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." It was rather fatherly.
The whole horse's noise, everything.
And why they was so big. It was so big. And the coach said, "There's no flippers." I was like, "Daddy, there ain't no flippers." Okay, can we take a moment to talk about, what's his name? Miles? Michael. And his dad was like, he's like, "Daddy, can I make it onto the team?" He's like, "Don't call me daddy in public. It's coach. It's coach in public." I was like, "Oh, poor thing."
But speaking of like the fables and the moral of the story, Michael's episode where like he turned into like that gremlin. It was the first, I think, episode I had ever seen of, especially an animated series addressing homophobia or anything like that, and what that does to small children. So I was very proud watching that episode. Proud family. I was very proud watching that episode that they had handled that in such a creative and funny way.
Mm-hmm. But it kind of goes back to like back then. The things that were allowed to be said or depicted in sitcoms and TV and movies would never be able to happen now. I don't see that character being able to be depicted the way he was then now, especially because there's rumor that there's going to be a Proud Family reboot. They announced that early this year. So if they're going to do that, it's like, dang. You're going to have to change a lot.
I hope they don't take out Michael. They needed Michael. Michael did all the choreography. Michael designed all the costumes. Michael was the integral part of their friend group.
I don't think they need to take him out. I think the jokes might be different.
Yeah. Which is why I feel I appreciated his episode so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because while they were like, okay, yeah, we've been laughing and joking about this, but here's some seriousness. It's not okay to treat people differently.
Yeah. Right.
So it's pretty awesome. Now back to La Cienega and her big ass feet.
Right.
Wait, remember the episode that's how they were able to save Poppy from the evil retirement place? It was because Sugar Mom was like, nope, I know Poppy's feet. And them ain't Poppy's feet.
Oh my God. You know, okay, I keep taking you off topic because I know you want to get back to La Cienega. But at some point, we're going to put a pin in this. At some point, we do need to talk about colorism because this show, along with others from the 90s, definitely adds to the case or the argument, if you will, about how colorism was depicted in our movies and sitcoms and how that's actually showing up in our community. So we'll put a pin in it.
Definitely. We can come right now because I felt that they did Dejanay the same way that they did Kim and Moesha.
Exactly. And it's not a coincidence that it's the same writer, right? Because we said the same thing with when we talked about this before, but like how they made Kim fall over and is like begging for attention from Hakeem. The same thing happens with Dejanay and Sticky. You know, and I think that's really just the writer. I think now that I'm looking at it from that perspective, I'm thinking that's how he writes for some of his characters.
And I wonder maybe if he did have that one girl that was in his neighborhood and he might have been the boy who she was chasing after so much, and she was loud and did talk and had that exaggerated tone and the way that she spoke. I just don't understand why every single time she needs to be brown skin.
Again, this could be very much his lived experience because the creator, Bruce, said himself that this was a depiction of his family and it kind of grew out of that, but it starts somewhere. Somewhere. And so again, I don't know if that goes to Ralph's personal experience as a kid or whatever, that it shows up in his writing as an adult, but it does say a lot about him and how he perceives these darker complexions of women and being naggy, or it's just interesting how he did that. And I wonder why.
Not even naggy, just full out ghetto.
Yes. And then there was this one episode where Dejanay was like super dark, and I get they were outside, but I'm like, why did they have to make her skin even more darker in the dark? You know, like it was just little things like that. Like, I can see why people are like, yeah, this is the example, but I also want to add a different perspective. Again, talking about the writer and the producer and their experiences and who they are, because it's important to realize that these are Black people. You know, it would have been hella disrespectful. It would have been hella disrespectful if it was a white person.
Child, it would have been all types of boycotts.
Okay. But because it's a Black person, our Black existence also includes colorism. And if he added that in there, I think it's to make light of the fact that there are many shades and hues of us, and that we all have our different personalities, that we're so complex. Black people are so complex. And there's different versions of us in different settings. And so it's just like, I think he wanted to show the complexity of Blackness in this, you know?
So then my question comes then is like, do you feel like he internally has some colorism issues that he needs to work through, and that his darker characters are represented in that way? Or do you feel like he is actually being smart about it, and it's the way he's portraying certain stereotypes in a way as commentary about it, like almost like satire?
I would say almost like satire, comedy, the latter, basically, for him. Because now I'm thinking about the other characters that are being brought into this depict, like, you know, colorism being depicted in our sitcoms and movies. I think about Martin and Gina and Pam. Those are completely different producers, writers, creators. And so to that point, then I do feel like there is this internalized feeling or thought maybe towards people who are of a darker complexion to criminalize them, because Dejanay's original name was going to be Delinquinetta.
That was going to be her name?
That was originally her name.
I'm glad they decided against that. Okay, right. So even with if it is satire, like, and that example just brings it even further. Like, even if you are doing it in a way of satire, you need to have something that is more explicit with the description of that and highlighting the ignorance that goes along with colorism, because otherwise, like, dark-skinned women are suffering. Like, you might mean it as satire, but it's at the expense of dark-skinned women. Yeah. And if you are doing a cartoon that is going to be, that you're saying is for Black youth because they are missing that representation, then that's not the time to try to put that in, because then you're impacting and shaping how young Black girls see themselves.
Right. And so I'm hoping that with this new revamp of the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, that that they address those issues, because that does say a lot. And, as Black people, like I said, back then, it was almost as if they were like, okay, let's push the button. Let's see if we could push the envelope a bit and see what comes back. And people were so just happy and proud to see ourselves on TV that we didn't necessarily see some of the other underlying things that could be wrong with it, Right. And so I'm hoping that they address those things that were just a little problematic about it.
Definitely agree with you.
All right, okay. I'm so sorry. Back to La
Cienega and her big ass feet. Diagnosing her with narcissistic personality, which would include a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts. Having grandiose sense of self-importance, exaggerating talents, expects to be recognized as superior, is preoccupied with unlimited success, power, brilliance, or beauty. And she was just beautiful. And the ideal love, because she was so upset when Penny had that admirer, and she was like, how could they want you in that? Yeah, she was hurt.
Yes.
Believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or associate with other special or high status people, requires excessive admiration, has a sense of entitlement, is interpersonally exploitive, lacks empathy, believes that others are envious of him or her, shows arrogance, haughty behaviors or attitudes. I felt that she represented every single criteria in the category.
Absolutely. And of course, like, I'm just like flipping through episodes in my head, and I'm like, yep. That's when that happened, especially when Penny was trying to save her from that accident when she was doing the audition for cheerleading, so, and it's just interesting. I do appreciate that she did shout out Penny and her dad for when she won the Miss Teen whatever
Wizard Kelly whatever competition Wizard Kelly had, and he owned everything.
Exactly, anything in this show was Wizard Kelly-esque or owned. Did he own Hip Hop Helicopter? Probably did.
Girl, probably, because he owned the record company.
Right, it came on his television.
I know that they was, it all started with an orange basketball, and they was making fun of Magic Johnson. But y'all, even Magic Johnson don't own all the things that Wizard Kelly owned. I also wanted to see if you felt that, if you agreed. I am thinking that possibly of diagnosing Zoe with generalized anxiety disorder. What do you think about that?
What I liked about it is that she was a minority, right? And so she was trying to find a way to fit in. That was her MO the entire show, is like, I want to change myself and she didn't feel happy with who she was or what she was capable of bringing to the friend group. And then the friend group was like, nah, we like you the way you are. But it was always a constant desire for her to change. Like, again, going back to that makeover episode,
when they gave her the makeover?
Yes. And she really enjoyed that. Or when they did the Hip Hop Helicopter episode, and everybody was like, oh, my parents made me burn it. My parents shredded it. And she was like, I got mine on right now. I love the power.
That's one thing I loved about Zoe. She was such a little like feminist. And I was like, go ahead, Zoe.
She was, especially that episode when Penny was like, I want to play football. And Zoe's like, my aunt is a lawyer. We'll make sure we win this, you know? And so that, and I appreciated that about Zoe. And then another thing about Zoe was that she checked Penny when Penny got out of line with certain things.
Yeah.
Again, with that episode with the makeover, she's like, you're being her mouthpiece, just like Nebula. Is it Nebula? I don't know what her name
Nubia.
is.
It was Nubia Gina.
Nubia.
Olay.
Yes, Nubia. Olay got the makeover, and Nubia was pretty much the mouthpiece for the Gross sisters because neither one of them talked. But Penny tended to do that for her too. So Zoe's like, hey, you know, that one thing that you didn't like that was happening to her, you're doing it to her now. And she's like that voice of reasoning, or you know, that
the good angel on your shoulder.
The good angel on your shoulder that says, hey, remember, this is what you intended and this is not what it's looking like now. And she was also very socially aware, and like there was times where she would, like you said, a feminist, like, you know, like she's like, that's not right. And we deserve more. And, you know, then it empowered Penny to be that person that's like, yeah, stop spreading those rumors around. It was like Penny was always stepping up. It was like, no, guys, we deserve better. We deserve allowances. Let's live our own communities, you know? And like, so I think Zoe had a really important role. I just think that she had a low self-esteem that could have contributed to internalizing like anxiety of feeling like she's not enough. So yes, anxiety is good, I suppose.
Possibly, but I do completely agree with the self-esteem issue. And I definitely think that was something that prognosis-wise could be addressed with her, is building up her self-esteem. I do think that Penny is a young revolutionary and would be part of Black Lives Matter in the here and now.
Yes.
Registering people to vote for Stacey Abrams and things like that.
Yes.
Where prognosis-wise, where do you see the Gross sisters?
Well, first thing is we need to get them some CeraVe. I hear that it's really
what?
Excuse me. We need to get them some CeraVe. We need to get them some.
They need Vaseline. They need
Vaseline. Though it be okay. With Jamaican castor oil.
Yes, that's what they need. They need something serious to take that away. Because child, how is your hair ashy? We could definitely focus on their strength and that they do have great performance skills.
Yes.
And that we could get them into something to support and build those skills so that they can build competence in other areas, because it is hard to break, especially children, out of something once they found that they're good at it. And so they have been robbing and stealing for a very long time and become very good at it. So we need to work on their strengths and use performance as maybe a replacement behavior, because they can also make money from doing that as well.
Yeah. And I think it's important to look at them individually. You know, I would be interested in working with them individually and helping the other two find their voices, like literally find their voices, because they don't speak for themselves. And so I would be really interested to know, like, you know, well, how do you operate apart from each other? Because I think it's important. Like, while I do appreciate them being so close, I think that can prevent them from growing and experiencing things for themselves and understanding themselves individually. And I think that's what happened with Olay. Clearly wanted to be an individual, but she couldn't operationalize without her sisters. And so that to me is where the problem could lie, is like that dependence for each other. And so once we have them learn independence from one another, it doesn't mean I want them to not be together. I just want them to identify separate from each other and grow.
And they could even potentially run a small business, large business, a whole enterprise if they wanted to, because they are so business savvy young ladies. They have that gift of knowing the supply and demand and how to bring money in, how to collect. Maybe they do it That collection business, you never know. They're just enterprising young women, so they could do anything.
They need to be somebody landlord, okay?
Ooh. They have multiple side hustles. They do that as well.
Mm-hmm. honey. Who else
so, let's look at the Proud family just as a unit. How do you see them moving forward, prognosis-wise?
Well, in the movie that someone didn't watch, in the Proud Family movie, Sugar Mama actually, the problem is that Sugar Mama does not respect Oscar. No. She has mad respect for Trudy, but the respect level for Oscar is very low. But she actually changes her heart and her tune and listens to Oscar in the Proud Family movie. And so based off of like the Proud Family movie, the prognosis that I would give is that they have to respect the fact that Penny is now she has been a teenager or preteen, but now she's officially like kind of getting into that area of womanhood. And, it was her sweet 16 and things like that. And so Oscar is going to have to really deal with his stuff with Sugar Mama that will allow Penny to be treated as the woman she deserves and wants to be treated as. Because Penny's a smart girl, and I don't think that she needs to be babied and coddled. So I think he needs to respect her and where she is developmentally. I think that her and Trudy and Oscar do a really good job in doing that with Penny and allowing her that freedom to grow. I think Oscar just struggles with it a lot more. And Trudy has to come in and be that voice of reasoning for him. And saying, hey, Oscar, it's okay. She's responsible, whatever. You wanted to do this as a kid too. And so I think there's promise for them. And with Sugar Mama, I think it's just a matter of like saying, hey, Sugar Mama, instead of changing, I think I would do CBT, especially trying to change a little bit of narrative therapy too, like trying to change that narrative where instead of throwing and yelling insults, trying to get Sugar Mama to actually say things that like words of affirmation or positive things to Oscar so that he feels the love and appreciation from her a little bit more.
So more like behavior modification with her.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. And I definitely agree with everything that you're saying, and especially with the part of them in the process of giving more freedom. And I think that could potentially come from his almost distrust of himself, because a lot of times I view that in parents is where they have that just inability to let go and let their children begin to test the waters and build their own, is because they feel like maybe they didn't do enough before to instill all of the skills that in the child that they need. Like it has less to do with the child and their responsibility and decision-making skills as it does with the parent feeling inadequate or incompetent that they gave all or did all that they needed to do for their child to have that. And so maybe as he continues to build up himself, and definitely with the work that Sugar Mama would be doing to try to change some of those insults, he might feel better with himself and then can allow Penny to have a little bit more freedom and grow more into her sense of self, because she was a good kid. And she made mistakes as all kids do, but there wasn't anything that was unforgivable.
I mean, her friends were trash. Like,
yes.
They got her into all types of shit. So if she didn't have those friends, she actually would have been a pretty decent
So she might have stood a chance.
No, I do think it made her a rounded person, because then the example with the outfits, right? So Penny is like, no, my mama told me I'm not to wear that outfit ever again. And they're like, but we got to wear it at this party, And she's like, well, I'm not going. Well, it's 4 of us, not 3 of us. And so had they not peer pressured her into feeling like I have to show up for my friends, I think she would have really sat that one out for the sake of respecting her mom's wishes. And the fact that my mom didn't like it. So I don't want to do nothing that's going to upset my mom. And there were several instances where that happened with this. But
so are we getting the same moral of the story that we got from House Party, that your high school friends are not your real friends and they're probably all trash?
Yes,
I feel like I'm
that's
gonna have
exactly.
dreams about that laugh now. I might hear it. It's gonna haunt me.
I think, and that's the difference. That's the wonderful thing about being, growing into adulthood is that you start to find the people and make friends with people who benefit and will help build you to be a better person and contribute to your growth. And so sometimes some high school friends, I have high school friends, like I still kick it with, like 2.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say I got a good 2 as well. School of thousands of children. I like 2 of them.
And that's just how it goes. I have 1 from middle school. So
me too.
Yeah. And it just happens naturally. You grow and you go your different ways. And even with the friends that I do have, we're still very different, and have lived different lifestyles and everything, which is fine. But it's just different. So I could see, out of all the friends with Penny, I could see her and La Cienega being friends. No, that's a lie.
I could see her and Zoe and Sticky. Her, Zoe, and Sticky continuing.
Yeah, because Dejanay was trash for that rumor. And she ain't care
at all.
She ain't care.
But,
so her and Zoe.
How we said fables and morals of the story. Moral of the Proud Family episode is that your high school friends are trash. Find new ones. You'll make better friends at work and at college if you decide to go. Those will be the people who stick with you forever.
Pretty much.
But if you would like to support the show and help us get more content out to you all, you can visit our website and follow the Support the Show link and become a Patreon member or donate to our Cash App. Now, we're happy to get the kind of money that jingles, but we'd rather get the kind that folds. As always, be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you get podcasts and leave us a comment because we are counselors and actually care what you have to say. So until next time, peace.
Okay, bye.